Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Lisa, and today I would be playing with my stamps that are tickets. And I have gone and stamped them on some muslin, and I've gone through and I've painted them with watercolors. Now I tried a couple options. I did try to paint them with some distressed oxide inks, Tim Holtz, and the colors ran more. You can see kind of blended together, which is an okay look. Not what I was going for. I tried this where I pre-stamped the fabric kind of randomly, so it kind of gives like a sort of a tie-dye look. Definitely an option. But what I landed on that I thought looked the best were these, which were used with watercolor paints. So I did those, and then I took it a step further, and I went through and I added them. I cut them out and I added them to a second kind of coordinating fabric to make like fabric clusters. So I've got those. This one's really pretty, simple. I got this one and another small one, and again with that with the border. This one was a little bit more neutral. Not as much of a fan of that because the white muslin, or it's an off-white muslin in the off-white background, were not as contrasting. I like the contrasting a bit more. All right, so if you want to see how I did these, come on back and I'll show you. Okay, so I'm going to be using my Tim Holtz Ticket Booth CMS337. If I can find it on Amazon, I'll link it below in the description. I think I got mine from Stampers Anonymous, but I do know there's some on Amazon. I found some of the other ones I've done on that, so I will link it below. I really like this one. These are the three that I'm going to stamp on for the example. Let me get this out of the way as it glows you to death. And then I got a watercolor paint set here that I can never seem to open properly, as well as I'm going to stamp the stamps in my VersaFine Clair Nocturne. It's a pigment ink, so it doesn't run. You don't want to use the distressed oxide ink. I believe the archival ink would work, but these work really well, as you can see, because I get them wet like almost instantaneously afterwards. All right, I'm going to use as a base to stamp on top of. This is some watercolor paper. I found the pad at Dollar Tree, and I thought it might be fun to use this as my kind of spill off, because once I stamp onto the fabric, I can stamp onto here and then maybe do the same technique onto this with the stamps. So kind of like a future project for that. So that is our inspiration for this. Now I'm going to take my watercolor thing and just spray this. I don't know which colors I'm going to use, but I'm going to spray it all. I do have a couple glasses over here of water and some paintbrushes in a dirtier bucket, as well as I have a pile of just fabrics that I pulled. They're kind of batik-y, but I think you could probably use any fabric. I just thought something with a random print in the background might look nice, and yeah, go from there. So I think I'm gonna use this inspiration. I'm gonna do some purples with the green background, because I think I got that purple journal coming up, and this one has a bit of purple too. So I'm going to use those two fabrics as inspiration to do my swatching. Now I've taken some muslin, and I got this from Joann's before they closed. I'm pretty sure, I'm hoping Hobby Lobby carries some muslin. It is an unbleached muslin. I got just a couple yards of it. You can see it's tattered. The best way to handle this is to rip a piece, and I ripped a piece about 2.5 inches wide, just a random selection, because I originally was going to use some of the bigger stamps, and I used that as a gauge to make sure I had space on the sides to be able to stamp down that border. But we're going to go ahead and do these and put some stamps on there. All right, let us begin. I'm just having trouble opening lids today, aren't I? Well, I hope your day is going well. I'm filming this on July 1st, so woke up this morning, said rabbit, rabbit, rabbit. If you ever heard that little thing, it's supposed to bring you good luck if you say, some people say rabbit, rabbit twice, some people say it 3 times. Supposed to bring you good luck for the month, so I did my due diligence this morning, so hopefully the month of July will be good. That worked okay, and I'll get one more, so I'm gonna take these 2 off. I'm gonna take these 2 off, and actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I did this one, so I have a 4th one, which is a little bit different. And different pad. Yeah, there we go. So my sister came and picked up her dog, so we are not dog sitting anymore. The poor girl she got picked up on Sunday, and she had to go yesterday to the dentist. And got, like, I think my sister said 6 teeth pulled. Oh, I felt so bad for her. Yeah, not good. All right, well, that's what I was gonna do. I almost forgot my second print. That worked out well. And I do have these. They should be wet enough still. I didn't clean them off. Yeah, that'll work. Okay. Yeah, I thought I had pulled a wet wipe. But I did not, so I'll take care of that now. Just to clean those off a little bit. Okay. All right, so for this then, we're going to use, oh, I always do that. Okay, so we are going to use this to now color. Now, inspiration, like I said, we're going to use these fabrics, and like I said, I do want to do some purples and greens, so I'm going to just, I'm going to take some purples and see what I can get. Maybe a couple shades of them and see what I can get. Some darker purple and some greens. Now, I am not by any means an expert on watercolors, for sure. So, oop, you are a bit dark. You're really dark. Yeah, I'm not an expert by any means of watercolors, but I think they're fun to play with. And I know you can pick some up. There we go. Now I did spread it out a little bit, but I think that's okay. It spread out a little bit more than when I just painted it by itself. But it'll be okay. All right, let's do, this is the lighter purple. Almost like a pinky purple. I like that one. We're just gonna go ahead and paint these. Now the ones that have squares and stuff, a little bit more easy to figure out, like maybe where you want to put some color. And if you're going to do other ones, like say this one, it's got a bit of squares. You can still do it even though the end is open, but you could probably do kind of like a swash of color instead of fit inside the box. Okay, so let's see. I want to do, I think I want to do the lighter green. So I'll put a little light green in here. Get some extra water and see how this goes. Now, if you like perfection and you want everything to be even and not overlapping, this is not the technique for you. I'll just tell you, because it's it does spread. It's hard to get even. It's definitely more random. That is for sure. So let's see. I think we'll get some darker green here. And we'll do some darker green. Now I just noticed that it is going through, and I probably would have noticed that I was doing it on some paper. But you know, it's watercolor, so this probably could end up being kind of just fun in general when all is said and done, because the watercolors are floating through. You know, happy accidents. Isn't that what that Bob Ross used to say that? You have happy accidents. It's not wrong. It's a happy accident. So I think we're having a bit of a happy accident going on here. Okay. All right, let's see. This is more of a foresty green. Let's see what that color. That's a kind of a muddy green. But let's see how that ends up turning out. I think it'll be okay. Oh, and as I was saying, like I said, I am not by any means an expert on these, and the set of watercolors I got, pretty sure I got from Joann's. They're not the, you know, they're not artist grade or anything like that. So if you have different kinds, you might get different results for it. Yeah, all right, I think maybe we should add a little bit of, maybe get a little bit of green on this one and some orange. Orange could be fun, I think, because there is green and orange in here. I think this is a nice bright orange. So let's see if we can do, this one. All right, let's do, the bottom orange, and let's do the 240 cents. Okay, all right, so I think I'm going to put a green on that one. And let's see, I think I want the brighter green. Maybe the brighter green on here too. Kind of a, not a pine green, but a evergreen. All right, I have one last thing. There's a little strip that says a mint one, and thinking maybe, I wonder if I can get a bright yellow in there. Yep, I think that will work. Just to add a little strip in there. Okay, now these, this is probably how I'd like to do some watercolors, and I never do it because I'm always so heavy-handed at stuff. You know? I'll let that dry for a minute. So I did stamp these, and since I've got some of these colors out, let's see if we can do some bit of washing on these. I can cut them out later. This was not stamped as well as I would like, but now I didn't spray. I know you're supposed to spray some of these with water to start sometimes. And I did not do that. So it might have ended up a little bit different if I would have done that. I don't mind them. Yeah, I don't mind them at all. Now, when they first come out, they're pretty wet, and I think it gets a little bit better as I go and it dries along a little bit. Yeah, I don't mind it. A little bonus. Get a little more yellow on that one, and we'll call those done. Yeah, bonus. Okay, put those to the side, and we will finish off on these. All right, so they still are a little damp. If I took some time to dry them, they would be okay, but we're gonna go ahead and cut them. So I'm gonna use pinking shears for the edge on these. As you can see on the tickets, gives it a little bit more of a stamp look, and it also helps the edges not fray as much as if you cut them straight. So just to kind of do double duty for it, make it more stamp-like and or less fraying, we're going to use pinking shears. Yeah, there we go. Now, like I said earlier, if you like imperfection, if you like clean look, not for you. This is definitely a messy look. It definitely has run into pieces of fabric. It's not even. It's a little, what would you call it? Blurry. But it's still, I think it works for what it's going to be, for a little cluster of fabric to go on something. I think this is wonderful. All right, one more to cut. Now, when it does bleed up, it does kind of change the color of the muslin. So if you don't want that past it, you probably want to cut up to the ticket stamping part and not have the excess part, but I am not opposed to that. Okay, let's get some of these pieces up. All right, I'm gonna clean that lid out and close this down just to get it moved out of the way a little bit. All right, so for this, I am going to take them and glue them onto these to add a little bit of fun to them. And yeah, I like that. Now, I do use my art glitter glue when I'm gluing these down. You can use Fabri-Tac. I mean, you can even use stick glue, but I find that this works just fine. It doesn't bleed through and show shadows. Oops, you want to make sure you leave enough room to come back through and cut with the pinking shear. It doesn't shadow through, and I've noticed sometimes Fabri-Tac shadows through. So if it is a, it might change the color since it's water-based, and this is, you know, watercolors. So I would not want to do that. All right, let's see about this one. Is there enough room to put? There is enough room. Okay, let's do this one. Now I did glue these on the second fabric, but as you saw with some of my samples that I showed you earlier, they do not have to be glued onto a second fabric. This just gives like a frame to it. I mean, like this could definitely just go onto something and not be on some other fabric. So this one I think is going to need to go on one of these. And I'm kind of testing them out to see where it will look good to have color around it. That's all I'm doing. Hits or miss of hunt and peck. What is that called? You figure out where you want to put something. So, all right. Okay, let's close this down. And I'm really loving how these are looking now that they're drying. Might have to play with this in the future. Make a video for these. Because those are fun. I really like those. What do you think? Should I make a video and do these? Even though I kind of showed you how to do them already? Let me know. I like them though. I do, I like them. Okay. I really want to play with my watercolors a little bit more. Get more confident with them, and not professional, I guess I would say, but get a little bit more knowledgeable so I feel comfortable in what I'm doing, if that makes sense. But it's fun to play too. All right, probably the hardest part of this is trying to cut it straight and make an even border. Pinking shears are notoriously hard to use to cut through. Cute. All right. Get that to the side, and we'll cut these three out, and we'll be done. All right, well, if you like this technique and maybe would like to do it, I'd love to hear about it. If you leave any comments, questions, and a thumbs up would be awesome. Very colorful, very fun. And we'll get this last one cut. And the last side. One thing I didn't say is that if you got something longer than your cut, when you go to do the next cut, try to do your best to line up the some previous zigzags where they were cut, and cut it so that they stay even. Because if you miss it, you get a really weird jagged look, which I don't know if so if you cut it like it is, and then you go and you just cut it randomly anywhere. Can you see how they're not, I mean, they're kind of fun. They're just more decollaged than true pinking shears. So just something to keep in mind. Like I feel like I should cut some of these out just to make trims. Look how fun that is. I might just save that piece. That's a fun one. We'll put it in the bucket of fun. Okay. Like I should not be saving scraps that tiny, but one will not hurt. As I see this hanging off of here. Bucket of fun. All right. Okay. You're going to the garbage, so. All right, they're still a little damp, but I think they'll be great when they're done. Yeah, I really like them. Yeah, see, these are drying, and you can see they seem to clear up a little bit because the color tones down a little bit like the regular watercolors do. They lighten up. So these will probably lighten up a little bit because they are still wet. But I love them, and those are so much fun. Okay, well, I really liked making these, and I have made quite a few today. So I'm very happy with the outcome of this. And again, if you like the video, a thumbs up would be awesome. I'd love to hear any questions or comments you have as well. All right, well, that is going to be it for me today. I appreciate each and every one of you that has hung out with me today. And as usual, I hope you all have a wonderful and creative day. Bye now.